Well, good morning to you. It's Monday, March 13th, 2017. This is Tim Patterson, Trade Show Guy, and this is a weekly live video blog from Trade Show Guy webinars. And yes, you can find us online a couple places, actually several places. TradeshowGuyExhibits.com. You can get a free book, Trade Show Success, at TradeshowSuccessBook.com. You can go to the blog, which is probably the most read of all of these sites, TradeshowGuyBlog.com. Trade Show Exhibit Buyers Kit, if you're interested in that, .com. Well, TradeshowExhibitBuyersKit.com, if you're interested in that. And, of course, sign up for the ongoing vlogs, webinars, reminders for that sort of thing. If, in fact, you want to do that or pass that along, TradeshowGuyWebinars.com. There will be some changes coming up next month. Yet to be determined, but I'm thinking I'm going to move away from the Google Hangout / webinar jam for the Monday morning vlog, as it were, and do something a little different. Maybe just record it live straight to YouTube. I think I can do that with webinar jam. I'm not 100% sure. I got to figure that out. Or I can actually the thing I might do is just do it on Facebook, and which seems to be make more sense. I've talked to a number of people who are into the video online, and they say, yeah, that's probably where your audience really is going to be, Facebook. So you can do that and let people know and send out reminders and whatnot where to find you. And then, of course, I can obviously record that. That stays in place there, and yada yada yada. Anyway, I'm just returning from Natural Products Expo West, which is in Anaheim, California, Anaheim Convention Center. Huge show, keeps getting huger, ginormous. It's I know last year they had over 70,000 attendees. I think about 3,500 exhibitors, and I know they had more space this year. So here's the deal. Anaheim Convention Center has 5 halls that have been jammed for years. Downstairs ballroom's one of them. It's jammed. They got the 5 main halls, or the 4 main halls up on the main floor. And then they have next to it, I believe, a hockey arena. And they have filled that the last couple of years. And there's a walkway between the two they fill. And so the last 2 or 3 years, they've started doing a couple of ballrooms in the Hilton right next to it and filling those with new products, hot new products. And those were nuts the last few years. But that wasn't enough. No, they had to add the Marriott hot new products. And so this just keeps going and going and going. And I don't know, it's just going to explode or something. It's crazy. Trade Show Guy Exhibits, proud to say that we had 3 new clients at the Anaheim Convention Center. Dave's Killer Bread and / Alpine Valley. They had a combined 10 by 30 booth. And so 10 feet of that went to Alpine Valley. 20 feet went to Dave's Killer Bread. Schmidt's Natural Deodorant debuted a brand new 10 by 20. And from Philadelphia, Weatherspoon Honey. They do New Zealand honey. They had a 10 by 20. And they all loved it. A great experience. I helped set up 2 of the booths, the Dave's Killer Bread and the Schmidt's. Got really into the Schmidt's. That was fun because the crew did it themselves. Dave's Killer Bread hired a labor company to do that, and that worked out pretty well. In fact, at this very moment, 2 of those are being torn down and being shipped out. Look for the upcoming article, and I'll have a photo gallery, no doubt, on TradeshowGuyBlog.com, and probably put a lot of that over on TradeshowGuyExhibits.com. We're a small company, and we got to toot our horn when we get something like that. Press releases will go out, that sort of thing. I wanted to share some reflections, though, because all I really had to talk about today was Expo West, Natural Products Expo West. They do an Expo East in Baltimore, and it's been several years since I've been to that one. In fact, when I was going 10, 11, 12 years ago, they were doing it not only in Baltimore, but I went to one in Boston. I went to one in Washington, D.C. I think it's back in Baltimore. It's been there for a while. All 3 of those cities are fine for that. And it is slowly growing, although people that go to it say it's not nearly as big and whoop-de-doo as Expo West. So it was my 14th year attending the show. It does keep getting bigger and bigger. Walking the aisles, what do you see? What do you see? What do you see? Well, I saw bone broth virtually everywhere. Bone broth drinks, bone broth this, bone broth that. So that was really big. Eat your tea, eat your coffee. A lot of companies with new products on you can have coffee chips or tea chips. There was actually a coffee made out of, No, tea made out of coffee leaves, which I thought was interesting. So you can sample all this stuff, and it just goes on and on and on. And then I looked at a lot of the booths, and a lot of bigger booths. A lot of companies did bigger booths. A lot of companies downsized. And there were a couple of notable exceptions. For years and years, I've seen Amy's natural products there with a large booth, very large. They were not there this year, and I'm not sure why. Some sort of internal decision that they decided not to be there, but they were a big presence up till this year. It wouldn't surprise me if they come back. That has happened before. We had a client years ago, probably 8 or 10 years ago, Kettle Foods, which decided that they would drop out for a year, just a budgeting thing more than anything else, because it's expensive to go to the show with a big booth. And so, but they're back, and they've actually, the company's been sold 2 or 3 times. It's owned by a company in North Carolina, Charlotte now, and I talked to those folks, good folks. But Kettle Foods, which is a Salem brand, which is where I live, is no longer headquartered in Salem, but that's where it came from. I made some notes, some reflections a couple mornings ago. Bigger is better, except when it's not, when it comes to booths. So sometimes a smaller presence is useful. Sometimes a bigger presence is. It just depends on what you want to do. New booths are better, except when they're not. There's a couple of interesting stories. We did a booth when I was with Interpretive Exhibits years ago for Nancy's Yogurt out of Eugene, Springfield. Beautiful booth. It was really cool. They came to us with a concept. We executed it. It had these sort of curvy counters and color. It matched their brand and everything. And they've lived with this thing for 11, 12, 13 years. It's just they're getting their money's worth out of it. Well, I walked around the corner and said, "There's the new." It looks like a brand new booth. It's a brand. No, it's not. It's the old booth. They just reskinned it, and they did a really phenomenal job of it. I'll have pictures of that as well. But that was really fun. I have a Fitbit, and I did a lot of walking, and I think day one, which would have been Thursday, Wednesday morning we set up, Thursday morning we set up, but Thursday was also the show, the main show, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and let's see, I put on like 8 miles on Thursday, 10 miles on Friday, 10 miles on Saturday, and yesterday I was there half the day before I made it to the airport, so... with all the food I ate, I thought I'd put on 4 or 5 pounds, but I actually lost a couple pounds. I noticed this morning. They have so many samples, and they have signs everywhere. You get to take 1 bag of samples home. That's all you get to take. Well, there's always people carrying several bags of samples out. It's crazy. And then there's always the signs, you cannot bring roller carts in and things like that. Well, a lot of people had roller carts, so I don't know. Those rules are not enforced all that well. But I'm telling you, there are some rows of this show where you can walk from one end to the other of a single row, one row, and pretty much eat a full course meal. I mean, that's how much food is at this show. All right, another thought and observation. I didn't recognize any of the bands this year. They have bands. They have outdoor bands. They have late night evening concerts on at least 1 or 2 nights. And in the years past, there've been some great bands there. Neville Brothers, Ziggy Marley, Blues Travelers, Michael Franti, and Spearhead. I didn't recognize anybody this year, so I didn't go. I'm getting old. I know that. Just like last year. People like getting free books. I must have given away 75 of these books. Now I'm going to mail a bunch of them out, but this is my book, Trade Show Success. People like getting free books. I did take about a dozen, and I left those with those folks, but I have a lot of cards that I'm going to send books to. In fact, most of these people here will get a book if I haven't already sent them one or haven't already given them one. That's my stack of cards. That's like 100 cards. This is last year, by the way. This is 2016, so you can see there's... I talked to more people this year. Crazy. What else? The show, I mentioned the show keeps expanding. I heard on Saturday, Friday was opening day of the main floor. And Saturday, I talked to a number of people at the show who said, yesterday, Friday, day one, was probably the biggest single day they've ever had in any trade show anywhere for the amount of traffic that came by. I mean, this show brings traffic. It brings tens of thousands of people by your booth. It just on and on and on and on and on. Now, of course, you're just handing out a lot of samples, but, a lot of these people are making deals, reinforcing relationships with distributors and retailers, and it just goes on and on. And so it's a big show for that and a lot of traffic. But Day 2 did see a noticeable, not great, but noticeable drop-off. And day 3, which was yesterday, Sunday, I was there for about half of the day, and I could tell that it was much lighter traffic there as well. But Friday, day 1 of that is big. Now, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and the Hilton and the Marriott were very busy. I went late Saturday afternoon, just the last hour, just to see how the Hilton was doing, or the Marriott. And very busy over there, although people were winding down and starting to pull stuff off the shelves because they knew they were, done in about an hour. Let's see, what else? Having gone to this, I know, and I'm not in the natural products industry, which is an interesting industry. Having done trade show booths for a number of clients there for, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15 years, a lot of the people stay in the industry. They'll go from company to company, but they'll stay in that industry. And I suspect that's true of a lot of industries. Just like I came from radio, you bounce around from radio station to radio station. But in this sense, I've run into a number of people that are no longer with the company they were with 4 years ago or 2 years ago or whatever, and they're now with a new company in the same industry, and they're attending the same show, which is interesting. Paleo is still a thing. I thought maybe paleo would be done, but there was a lot of paleo diet-oriented things. And then finally, I just wanted to mention this. For the last 3 or 4 years, Bob's Red Mill, which is a client of ours, we did their large 30 by 40 island booth, good booth. They start the show every morning about 10:30 with a Dixieland band that marches throughout the show for probably 20 minutes or so. Make a lot of noise. They got the drum, they're marching, they got the Dixieland band, they got I don't know, 15, 20, 30 people in Bob's there, who I think turned 87 this spring, last month. Shaking hands, smiling, pressing the flesh, still brings a smile to most people's faces. I know there are a couple of people that grumble about it, but they're probably competitors. And they're thinking, why didn't I think of that? So we'll wrap it up today. Expo West, the one good thing, of course. We'll put a link to their main site, the Natural Products Expo West. Have yourself a great week, and join me again next Monday morning for a live video blog. I'm Tim Patterson, Trade Show Guy, and you can find us all at TradeshowGuyBlog.com.